So what's some discussion points that you have voted upon? So down to you. So the highest votes we've had is for development and local environment. Who was responsible for this one? Now what we've got 4 chairs here. What I'd like is whoever has written these down, they can come down and start the discussion. But if a couple of other people come and join them, so we'll have a maximum of 3 people in these chairs with 1 empty chair. At any point, you can jump in that empty chair and somebody has to leave. Okay?
Do we need music on for this?
Excellent. So who's upcoming and chatting about development and local environments? Now let's get this going. Yeah, do you want to join in?
Come, Nathan.
It's really just a open discussion.
I don't want anyone else.
Come on, Joe.
It's really just down to you guys, and we'll just. The idea is that if you want to get involved in the conversation, you come and grab that empty chair. Okay. There we go.
Hey, my name's Ollie. I build shit with WordPress, and I have, over the last few years, been constantly frustrated with the processes of building stuff with WordPress, particularly in how a lot of us build stuff locally, how we deploy it to live environments, how often we do stuff actually on the live environment and not test locally in the staging, how difficult it is to synchronize local environments with production environments, especially in terms of data. I've had lots of situations where I'm building stuff in my local environments. Clients are adding data to production. I have to try and work out how to merge those bits of data together. What's the master set of data? What isn't the master set of data? I got tired of FTPing stuff up to production servers. So I've spent over the last 2 or 3 years a lot of time tooling my processes to use Vagrant, Capistrano, build scripts that manage data, that will synchronize databases between myself, my development partners, production environments, staging environments, that manage uploads, that do all these sorts of things. And I would like to understand what everyone else does and what we think the future is of doing this. Because my biggest frustration as a developer are some of these things. It's how difficult it is to sanely build stuff with WordPress at times, and how unsafe some of the practices that I see, especially in terms of not testing stuff and deploying stuff without testing, developing on a production server, doing updates on a production server without testing it locally. All these sorts of things, they fill me with dread.
I also forgot to add one key thing. We've got 5 minutes to discuss this topic, and then we're going to vote to continue or to move on to the next topic. Okay, so you're 2 minutes into this topic so far.
Oh, right. I'm supposed to start answering. No, just to give you an insight, I use Vagrant. I've got my interesting Vagrant stack that I built for my local environment. I've got a bunch. I use Capistrano to deploy to staging and to my production environments. And I've got a bunch of scripts that synchronize databases between production, staging, local, and also with my team who work in Indonesia, Australia, and India. And it works for me, but I'm still not convinced it's a scalable and very easy to manage solution.
So one of the things that we do is content exists on the live side. So there has to be a master content. So if that is either the live side, or if the client wants to make a lot of content changes, we'll duplicate it into a staging area where they can make that.
One of my things is you shouldn't be FTPing, especially if you're working in a team. If you're FTPing as a team, you're asking for, you're basically being suicidal. It's not a good move.
So what do you do instead?
We have a Git. We all work in Git.
Yeah.
We all have our own branches. We actually have a staging branch and a live branch and a master branch. So the master branch is basically what a lot of people would have called deploy. Then you would also have, if you're ready for everything in dev, and your dev environment is happy and everything, then you would commit to master. We always do code reviews, which actually catches anything out. So someone else one person does the pull request, someone else in the team has to code review it, because that sanity checks what's going through, to make sure that you're not adding in things, especially at the last minute. It's super important that you don't skip these rules, because that's when things break and you don't realise. If you have multiple people looking at these things, it's less likely to be an issue. We also, so like, once it's in master, then we're all happy, then we actually merge master into staging at same times when you've double checked everything. That then auto deploys to the staging server. Like, it's like every 5 minutes auto deploys when it sees something else has changed. And then there is a big button, I think, that actually then goes to live. I'm not sure exactly how that happens, but basically that happens in magic, and I don't really care. Because as a developer, I shouldn't have to care. Like, the sysadmins of the company need to care.
So I disagree. As well, you should have to care. I mean, I don't like having bits of my overall infrastructure environment as kind of black boxes.
Then it's not black box as such. I could choose to care, but it works, and I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to worry that my local installation, my local configs are going to override the live
I think
ones.
that's fine for you to a big team, but when you're single and small teams, you have to care.
Yeah, you have to care more.
Okay, sorry guys, I pause you there. This is a thumbs up, not sure, or thumbs down to continue with this discussion. Continue, got another 3 minutes.
I would say I've worked in tiny teams. I was the third developer. I had to bring in Git into this company. I had to bring in, the company I joined, I graduated, and then they had live staging and production all in one, development all in one server, and that was not a happy medium. So I had to bring all these things in. You do have to care more, but the most important thing to do is make sure that you have the right tools to do it. You said you have Capistrano, so you're in the right direction. Making sure you're using Git is also in the right direction.
Capistrano runs off Git, so...
Yeah.
So if you want to count the conversation,
So like other things like that, it's also about finding the right tools. A lot of PHP conferences and user groups talk about the tools that they're using that we can also use in WordPress. There's no reason why WordPress can't use these PHP tools, which will help manage servers better. Anyway, that's my piece.
You can't leave yet.
Say Capistrano, if you're on, well, yeah, Capistrano is great tool, definitely in the right direction. I've used it on the bigger sites, and you know, you can kind of, what Jenny said, you have a branch, a master branch, that's your deployment branch, essentially what goes live. You can have post commitment that will execute your Capistrano workflow, go straight to the server. And I don't know, like, I believe you even got search and replace as database. So all the content that's on the local can get search and replace, dumped in the database. Backup of the upload folder on the side. Yeah. Mixed, I've got a script, agency called Mixed. Really good script. There's a tutorial that's outdated on something of how to make a stunting channel. Yeah,
Okay, I'll pause you there. Does it say thumbs up? Not sure. Thumbs down to carry on this conversation. Go back now? No? Cool. Okay, next one. We've got the, stay there. WordPress REST API. We've got 2 tickets here, so I need the 2 people that put these down. And grab a seat. We need 3 people in the seats. Please. Okay, got 5 minutes. Kick it off.
I actually don't know too much about WordPress API. I was just hoping other people could have a conversation that maybe fills me a bit more about that layer of it and how you can hook that into WordPress.
I'll ask a open question. Hi, my name's Elliot, by the way. So my question is there isn't really much documentation for WordPress REST API. I was wondering if anyone actually has any practical examples of actually integrating it into their themes And also, are you providing like a fallback for people that aren't using JavaScript? So are you falling back to the WP query object, or are you kind of using straight Ajax and just supporting people with JavaScript?
Anyone? Silence. Wow.
Everybody wants to know about it, but nobody's actually using it.
This could be.
I mean, just on that, I think that there's two elements. I mean, I think
You get
so I'm not an expert on this, but I think that the format is that the initial page load has to be pushed to the server. So that's almost you're not necessarily the way that I would do it is that my server piece and my client piece would essentially be the same, except that on the server, the first load, I would generate some HTML of the server, push it down to fine. If the client can use it as JavaScript, then any additional page loads, it's talking directly to the REST API. If it doesn't, then it's just calling the server to tell that my JavaScript is running on the server essentially to do that and then push HTML back down to it. I think that's the only way you can do it because it's just the nature of what it is.
Similar to this guy, do you have any good resources out there that like help out explain?
The problem is it's not released. I mean, they're still developing it. I mean, the REST API site has documentation for the various calls and stuff like that, but it's literally, I think you have to dive in, go on Stack Exchange, go on various places, Loop Chat and some of the forums, and just ask questions.
We actually had Ryan Q do a talk here, a couple of months ago, January I think it was.
Yep.
And that video, that talk is available, well worth watching.
Do I have to get up?
Yeah.
She's the boss.
Okay.
She secretly runs our
Number
company.
one, the pair of you should have been at WordCamp London because there was 3 talks on this subject. One which was on themes by Jack Lennox, who talks about how he's using it. It's all on his GitHub repo at the moment. So if you're thinking about creating a theme with the API, then that's a good place to start and just look at its code. Your point about like who's using it and stuff and if it's available, yes, it is not officially released, but Wired.com are already using it, which is quite good fun. It's already ready for production, and Ryan's promised that some of the endpoint won't change, but some of the back end might change. So it's really like today's discussion at work was they're hoping for it to be released into 2015, which basically means 4.3, but reality is that once it's in, it's going to be really hard to take out, therefore it's probably going to be more like a soft launch. That's the word on the street. It's really useful having people at work to ask these questions. And then the other thing is the videos from the weekend will be on the web, on WordPress.tv at some point. If you go to WordPress.tv and look up REST API, there's already been loads of talks from Ryan, from Joe, from I think Daniel's done a few as well, and maybe Rachel's done some, and they're all the core team members of REST API. If you're stuck, get in the support channels, there will be people there who will answer questions. Ryan's in Australia, therefore if you ask questions in the evening, he's more likely to be online. But then you've got people who are in the US, so you've pretty much got 24-hour support on that anyway.
Whose repository do you say is that they put it up?
Jack Lennox.
Jack Lennox, yeah.
Okay.
So Jack's been working a lot with themes. He's a theme wrangler from Automatic, so he does a lot of stuff with themes and the REST API, so that's his like niche.
Can I just pause you there? Is this a continue? Not sure, or let's move on? Let's move on? Okay, so the next one is WordPress perception outside of the WP community. Right, this one was in the last discussion.
Someone take my place.
Yeah, off you go.
Right, so
Oh, you meant him, sorry.
basically, designers, developers, I come across, especially people come from print design, agency environments, really think quite low of WordPress. It's like their last platform of choice. And it's because they think that everything they design in WordPress will have to look bloggy, as they say. On the other hand, kind of hardcore devs that I know, because of some issues that were highlighted by you, there's no kind of guides and best practices on like workflow and dev when you get quite into advanced development. They kind of veer away from it, so they don't think it's capable. So I think that WordPress is slowly getting into a branding problem because people's perception of what it does is one thing and what it can do are not necessarily known outside of the community very well. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm more experienced with Drupal than WordPress, but I am experienced with WordPress. I don't hate it. But I remember at Drupal.
Oh, you're friends now, anyway.
Yeah, we are. You work well.
I was at DrupalCon, I think it was 2011, and the founder of Drupal was doing a keynote, and he showed a slide which was basically a big graph, and this, I think it was time going from left to right, and then going upwards was perception, or at least, or perhaps factually features, how featured CMSs are. And the WordPress one was obviously slowly rising, and in time the Drupal one was higher but still rising, and then you had a dotted line which kind of represented what the user wants, and he was trying to say Drupal is perceived as too complicated, WordPress is perceived as too simple, and that WordPress is kind of moving into the right zone. Drupal was in danger of moving out of it. This was 4 years ago. But I just thought that was
So from a technical perspective, like there's no issue for designers whatsoever, right? Because the front end is completely disconnected from the back end, from anything that WordPress does, right? And the good thing is that on the WordPress side, you don't have that many nodes, that it doesn't spit out a bunch of HTML, which complicates things. And I know Drupal did before, for instance, in terms of like just layering a lot of nodes inside the DOM. But I mean, I guess it comes down to education at one point.
That's what I was going to say. It's not that WordPress is not capable, it's more, I feel like, it's not communicated. The community is not kind of really emphasizing that WordPress can do some pretty fancy stuff.
But you feel like...
I've got a question. Why do you ask?
Because I think I have to do a lot of work persuading people that WordPress is the right platform. It's not the conversation we should be having.
So we fall into this because people think, oh, we designed something, are you going to be able to build it? We just send them some links and say, look, here's some great stuff that's built on WordPress. Or actually, sometimes I've said, tell me which of these are built on WordPress. And it kind of gets them thinking, like, well, that isn't, because WordPress could never do a box out to the left. It's that simple.
It's the perception outside of human.
And also, if you go onto WordPress, if you just type in kind of top companies using WordPress, there's a page on WordPress.org, and it's like DHL, Sony, and just send it to them.
Yeah, no, NetMag actually recently started doing a thing where they do like a snapshot picture of a website and they say what platform it is, and I think there's some pretty cool stuff that's shown up there. But still, like I said, mainly the most resistance I have is from print. Well, for people who design, they kind of hand off their PhDs to someone, and I've got meetings. They're like, oh, yeah, we're using WordPress. Does that mean that we have to kind of design a thing that looks like this?
Yeah.
And then it's, I should not use Squarespace for that reason, or...
Yeah, right. Have a package ready, in terms of the counter.
But yeah, I wondered, is it just my issue, or is it something that the community should be doing?
Well, it's a bit different, I think, especially for us as human made, because all the people we get inbound clients, they're looking for WordPress. Right, they're looking for us specifically for WordPress, right? So you're in a much tougher boat in that regard. Right? I think it's something that can be solved in 15-20 minutes if they're willing to hear you out.
I think we'll a second. Just continue. Not sure. Continue. Got another 3 minutes.
I think one of the perception issues is that I've come across in the few years when I've been building websites for clients is that where you want to, we've often got into the stage of building bespoke websites for clients, and that's easy. You can do what you like if you build a bespoke website. But if you look at the WordPress.org themes selection, I think there's still a preponderance of blogging things in there, and there's very little, I would say, just my view, for small businesses and for charities and stuff like that. You know, it's just all about clean blogging things, it seems to be from clients' perceptions in the past. I think if there was, and I know this is not necessarily within the gift of the people here, but if there was more small businessy type themes on the WordPress.org themes, you know, because that's what people go and have a look at. It's just like a shop window, isn't it, effectively? Then I think that would help to change the perception of it.
Hi, I'm Diane, and I just wanted to say that I have also had to educate people, but not actually clients, but a guy that I used to work with a lot on, I used to do the front end and he used to do the PHP back end, and he was very resistant to WordPress. Like, it was almost like a sort of snobbery, and I kind of basically just showed him what I did in WordPress, and then I showed him just showed him around WordPress, and not only that, but then I also showed him what our clients were saying about WordPress, and then he was a convert. So I think that it is about educating people, but it is frustrating because a lot of the time, you know, you feel like you're having to show people how good it is all the time. So I just wanted to kind of come down and say it is not just you, and I've had to, and I've, you know, and like I said, even, you know, kind of even not from the client side, in my experience, actually, clients are very enthusiastic about WordPress. At least because it's something they've heard of. So a lot of them, but I've found that sometimes there's a snobbery from the other end, from other developers, like non-WordPress.
I found that content people usually love it, and talking to somebody who's in charge of content, yeah, it's easy sell, but talking to devs, like, you know, kind of back end devs, they you know, they'd rather go and let's build our own bespoke thing.
This is a request. This is a request for somebody to go up there. Jen's been doing a lot of work with crossover.
I was trying to not go up.
I'm really sorry, guys, but we're actually out of time. So I just want to thank you for everybody that's participated. That's really good.